The retirement of so great a figure in the contemporary scene as Sir Winston Churchill constitutes a moment in history. Strong rumours of his retirement had been current for some time, and the very special dinner party at number 10 Downing Street seemed to add confirmation. Sir Anthony Eden was there. Then, wearing court dress with the garter, Sir Winston came out with Lady Churchill to welcome the guests of honour, Her Majesty the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh. This indeed was an historic occasion, an historic picture too. Next day, Sir Winston did in fact drive to Buckingham Palace to offer his resignation as Prime Minister and First Lord of the Treasury. At the audience, Her Majesty was graciously pleased to accept. No man in our lifetime has better earned the right to withdraw from the scene of action. As he steps from the stage, the curtain falls on a political era.
It was under another queen that Winston Churchill had begun his career 60 years earlier. As a second lieutenant in Victoria's Cavalry Regiment, the 4th Hussars. The son of Lord Randolph Churchill and grandson of the 7th Duke of Marlborough, Winston was expected to follow his military service by taking up politics. But none of his aristocratic ancestors could have imagined the roller coaster trajectory his public life would take. Elected to Parliament in 1900, he rose quickly through the ranks, becoming First Lord of the Admiralty in 1911. But in 1915, he took the blame for the calamitous Gallipoli campaign of World War I, which cost Britain more than 70,000 casualties and cost Churchill the Admiralty. He spent the period between the wars on the outskirts of power, insisting that German aggression was still a threat and warning of what he called the gathering storm. But Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain ignored the warnings and struck a deal with the new Nazi regime.
This morning, I had another talk with the German Chancellor, Herr Hitler. And here is the paper which bears his name upon it as well as mine.
When Hitler broke the terms and invaded Poland, Britain declared war. Chamberlain was forced from office, and on May 10, 1940, Winston Churchill became Prime Minister. He proved his mettle during the Blitz, when German bombers hit London with wave after wave of ordnance, leveling whole blocks. Churchill refused to surrender and inspired the city with a defiant radio address, now acclaimed as one of the greatest wartime speeches of all time.
Hitler knows that he will have to break us in this island or lose the war. If we can stand up to him, all Europe may be free, and the life of the world may move forward into broad, sunlit uplands. Let us, therefore, brace ourselves to our duties, and so bear ourselves that if the British Empire and its Commonwealth last for 1,000 years, men will still say, this was their finest hour.
The Allied forces won the Battle of Britain. Throughout the remainder of the war, Churchill would give voice to the Allied mission.
We cannot yet see how deliverance will come, or when it will come, but nothing is more certain than that every trace of Hitler's footsteps, every stain of his infected and corroding fingers will be sponged and purged, and if need be, blasted from the surface of the earth.
The day did come, and in the wake of German surrender, Churchill was acclaimed as a British hero. He was accordingly devastated when he was voted out of power in the country's first post-war election. He recognized the threat Soviet Russia posed.
A shadow had fallen upon the scenes so lately lighted by the Allied victory. From Stettin in the Baltic to Trieste in the Adriatic, an iron curtain has descended across the continent.
But the British were ready to put war behind them. Churchill, however, was not. He undertook a multi-volume history of the entire Second World War, the first major military history written by an actual war leader since Julius Caesar. In 1951, his fortunes reversed themselves yet again, and he found himself back at Downing Street as Prime Minister. But his tenure was brief. In 1955, at the age of 80, he resigned from office, citing ill health.
Now the greatest of our contemporaries retires. To him and to his wife, the wish comes from far and wide. May many years of happiness lie ahead.
Nearly a decade of happiness did lie ahead, ending with Churchill's peaceful passing on January 24th, 1965.